I'm Jordan.
I'm Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Etzel.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And we are students at Blue Oak School in Napa, California.
And this is our video about plastic.
We as a group became interested by this topic after our school watched the movie Bag It.
Bag It, starring Jem Barrier, reveals the ill effects of plastic around the world and what is to be done about it.
We were intrigued by this idea and found it a dilemma suitable to be addressed through the World Savvy Challenge project.
We started by asking ourselves one big question to base our research off of. How can we reduce plastic in our school and around the world? So, in order to answer this question, we first needed to learn all we could about plastic. We needed to answer the question, what is plastic and why is it a problem?
Alexander Parks discovered the first man-made plastic in 1862. The material was called Parkinson and was made from cellulose.
1872, Eugene Baumann discovered polyvinyl chloride, or PVC. A plasticized form of this material was created in 1926 by Walter Semen.
Discoveries and inventions continued with polystyrene in 1937, nylon and neoprene in 1939, polypropylene in 1951, high-density polyethylene in 1951, and so on.
But plastic didn't fully become a part of the world economy until later. From 1980 to the 2000s in the U.S., plastic production grew 5 times.
The plastic companies Bayer, Dow Chemical, and General Electric produce 6 billion pounds of plastic worldwide per year.
Now the question is, why is it a problem?
Plastic is a problem right from the start. Plastics are made out of crude oils and natural gases, which are natural resources that are not sustainable.
Plastic is also bad for the environment when thrown away. Plastic can take up to 1,000 years to decompose, and when burned, releases the deadly chemical dioxin into the air.
You may think that recycling can solve the problem, but sadly, it cannot.
Less than 7% of all plastics produced in the United States are actually recycled. Also, the 3 arrow sign does not actually mean the product is recyclable. So even though you think you're solving the problem by putting your water bottle in the recycle, you're being misled. There are no standards on the recyclable triangle, so all the numbers 3 through 7 get grouped together, and because there are all different types of plastic that melt at all different temperatures, for example, number 3 has a 0% chance of recyclability, they are incompatible and the entire load is trashed.
Most plastics can only be recycled once because they go into making items such as parking lot bumpers, textiles, and plastic lumber that cannot be recycled again. A woman by the name of Diana Cohen gave a TED Talk on this issue and made some very interesting comments.
Most of it is only downcycled or incinerated or shipped to China. I wasn't just concerned about plastic that you're trying to imagine out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, of which I've learned there are now 11 gyres potentially of plastic in 5 major oceans in the world. It's not just that gyre of plastic that I'm concerned about, it's the gyre of plastic in the supermarket.
Now, plastics aren't only bad for the environment, they're bad for our bodies also.
Recent studies are showing that many plastics leak harmful chemicals, and one of the worst being bisphenol A, BPA, which is found in polyvinyl chloride, also known as plastic number 3.
This chemical attacks the endocrine system by mimicking the effects of estrogen. It can be found in an everyday water bottle, and the use of water bottles today is extremely high.
The U.S. uses 17 million barrels of oil per year to produce water bottles, the U.S. only.
This is because the U.S. citizens consume 1,500 water bottles per second.
Plus, out of the 50 billion bottles bought each year, 80% ends up in the landfills.
Americans throw away 2.5 million bottles every hour.
The average American uses about 29 pounds of plastic per week.
If you multiply this number by the population of the United States, which is 311,591,917, that would equal 9,036,165,593 pounds of plastic that the U.S. consumes each week.
We interviewed a man from the Napa Waste Company in hope of gaining the answers to some of our questions.
The other stuff that's hard to recycle is PVC, vinyl. It's a number 3 plastic, and they do have ways to recycle it, but it's really hazardous material in general to make. It has a lot of chemicals that are actually creates dioxins, which is bad stuff. when they
How long, when plastic gets put into landfills and stuff, because I know when it goes into the ocean, it breaks down from the sun, but then when it goes into landfills, it's either they burn it, they put it in landfills, and does
anything happen to it?
yeah yeah
When it goes into
just
the
stay
ocean,
there.
it just goes into little pieces, right? It doesn't actually decompose, and then the birds and the fish eat it and everything. When it goes to a landfill, usually it's just going to stay there forever, typically.
Plastic is bad enough stuck in the landfills, but when it travels into the wild, plastic becomes deadly.
Animals cannot distinguish plastic from food, and many deaths occur due to the amount of literally consumed plastic.
This is not only a danger to animals on land, but also in the ocean.
There are 11 gyres of plastic across 5 different oceans. The biggest plastic gyre is twice the size of Texas.
Gyres are huge swirling masses of water full with plastic fragments from end to end.
Once plastic enters the ocean, the sun breaks it down into many little pieces that can be eaten by marine animals.
Plastic as food isn't the only problem. Many animals become trapped in plastic remnants and left to die.
We as humans should be able to prevent this.
There will still be negative effects, though, from reducing plastic.
First one would be job loss. Because people would not be using as much plastic, many companies would not need to produce as much as they previously had, thus causing a drop in necessary employees. Large corporations could also lose money, and therefore, economies dependent on the production of plastic would not do as well. Finally, people in general could be negatively affected because people will have to make more sacrifices and find alternatives to plastic.
But these are problems we can work around.
Something that says to make, the reusable bags and stuff, to make those takes much more energy. It's like,
Sure. Well, we hope that people use recycled content bags, so they make the bags out of recycled plastic, but also it does take more energy than to make one plastic bag, but if you use it 100 times, it doesn't take 100 times as much energy. So after you use it, I don't know how many times, 20 times, then you start saving. So sure, to make one bag, but I hope nobody buys a reusable bag and throws it away after they use it once. So all that energy that goes into making one plastic bag that somebody uses for, I think the average amount of time is like 12 minutes, and then they throw it away.
Our group came to a point where we realized that we needed to do something about this problem.
Let's go back to our first question. How can we reduce plastic in our school and around the world?
Our first idea was to carry out a project in our own school.
Okay, so as part of our project,
We are going to collect all the disposable plastics we can find in the school.
which is about 75 kids
We'll go through all the trashes, and we'll ask people during lunch to give us their disposable plastic.
over a period of 2 days, and so we're going to measure that,
Collect it all and
tell them,
show it to the whole school. I don't think they want to steal it. Or maybe there's more.
I'm scared. Ah! Ah! Gonna get trampled by trash. Bring it out the garbage. Should we go to the library?
got that? This is the main one.
Yeah,
Put it in.
this way.
Wait, Jordan, I need to go in front of you. Ow!
For the next week after that, we plan on educating the students on how much plastic they are bringing to school.
Then, on the week after that, we hid the normal trash cans and put a bin out by the only trash can left, with a sign asking for plastics to be put inside.
We're emptying the garbage bags out for this week, so we can see if people are actually putting plastics in the garbage. So we can take it out and put it in the designated plastic bin. See that?
And
See? Not much in there.
all this trash, which was basically filled to the top, there's nothing left. It was all either recyclable, compostable, or plastic.
Here are the results of all our plastic at our school after 2 days.
These are the results 5 days after the program was implemented.
As you can see, the project didn't turn out as planned.
Our new plan is to show our documentary to our entire school and have the pledge to make their own personal changes and help reduce plastic in their own lives.
Also, in hope of making a change in our community, we wrote a letter to the City Council about finding a way to ban plastic bags in the community. We also posted this documentary on YouTube and created a Facebook page. But we still wanted to make more of an impact, so we devised a plan that, if worked, could change many schools around the world. We plan to eventually locate another school in the US, a school in China, and a school in Indonesia. We will ask them to carry out the same project as our school, and afterwards invite 2 other schools to do the same. We chose these specific countries due to their constant role in this global issue. The US and China because they're very developed countries with large populations, and Indonesia because of their plastic bag consumption, which takes place because it is a rapidly growing country with a lot of oil. Now you might be asking yourself, what can I do? We encourage you to do the following. Avoid plastic-wrapped products.
Use reusable items instead of disposable plastics.
Pick up litter in your community.
Try to educate others and invite them to do the same.
And utilize the 4 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Some alternatives to disposable plastic that you can use are cloth bags,
Metal water bottles,
Reusable Tupperware,
Aluminum containers.
and glass containers.
We hope that you can utilize this information and make the change in your own life.
and to help us accomplish the goal set by Diana Cohen to
Save our oceans, save our planet, save ourselves.